Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. Hello, sorry, we're starting a little bit late today. We got some new software. Maybe you could tell. Like, check this out, Look which layer guess which layer I'm between. Oh, it's not over there anymore. Maybe it's over here. Am I between any of these layers? Nope, EK's catching up. All right. We got this new software, so we're trying it out. So it took us a little while to get everything set up and started. So thank you for your patience. Welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I'm your host, the Madman. I got, stuff, Patreon. Please check out the patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. You can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio for that. And you can follow me on social media over here. All right. Yeah, so how about this postseason of baseball we got coming up? These wild card teams are wild. I mean, for the division series, you're going to have like the Astros, Orioles, Dodgers, and Braves, and that all kind of makes sense, kind of. But I mean, it's kind of a weird bunch we got here in the postseason of baseball. So the Toronto Blue Jays are in this. They're a wild card team. We got the Minnesota Twins. Jackrabbit would be happy. Tampa Bay Rays, the Rangers, Diamondbacks, and Brewers. The Brewers, Marlins, and Philadelphia, of course. And I'm gonna root for Philly up until they play the Braves. Then I'm rooting for the Braves. I don't know about you. That's the only division I care about. But I think it's really kind of an interesting thing. I think these new rules have resulted in a strange postseason for us. And I've been watching a bunch of the highlights. Since the wildcard games have started, and enjoying the highlights because, I really don't have the time to sit there and watch all these games, even if I want to. And I'm not rich enough to afford to be able to watch them all. You know how it goes. So I promise you, I'm gonna try to keep track of all these postseason games, and anything pops up at me is like, hey, now we need to start talking about these new rules and how it affects the game. So I promise you, we'll be talking about more about that later. Talking more about that later. Welcome to the show, Shock Monkey Radio. So, happy Good Buddy Day. It's October, postseason baseball. October 4th, 10-4, good buddy. That's a Texas Tyson. Yeah, I got to do with a Canadian accent. That's a Texas size 10-4, eh? That's a Texas size 10-4, eh? Alrighty. All right, we may have to speed through the news here. It's no big deal. I got a couple big things I want to talk about, but we'll go through talk about this thing now. This is bring up that rush pick.
I want to show you this first.
What do you want to show me? Oh, neat. Woohoo is the name. Oh, that's something you wrote. That's why it's silly.
That I commented on the YouTube video just now.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
How cool is that?
So I guess now. Will anyone who comments on the video live, will it pop up there?
I have to trigger it.
Okay.
I'll see the comment.
Yeah.
And then I have
Screen
to
them.
on the screen. Yes.
It's not that the anonymous viewer is weird. It's that my friends who view are weird.
Right.
All right.
Obviously, I don't put it on the screen if it was irrelevant.
Okay. Thank you. But I don't want to become one of those guys who's always constantly talking to the people who are in the live chat. That's
might be
silly.
Good for bringing back the mailbag segment, for example.
Right. I'd rather have time to ponder the question and come up with a clever response, but okay. But we have that feature. If you're interested, mention it in the comments of the video, not necessarily the thing. Emergency alert test. Okay, never mind. All right, yeah.
Everything's about to go off.
What do you mean everything?
At 2D, there's a test of the emergency broadcast system. So all of our devices, regardless of your audio settings.
So this is going to go off? The show's going to go off?
No. Your phone is going to even if it's on silent, your phone is going to make a sound in a minute.
Wonderful.
This is the government at work.
Yeah, wonderful. Enjoy your mark of the beast. Yeah. So I want to talk about this weekend. What'd you do this weekend? I had a friend who had a birthday today on this weekend. You want to pull up that rush thing? Rush pick? Yeah, so we celebrated EK the DJ's 14th birthday.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I had a lot of fun. It was down here at this Reclaim Arcade here in Fredericksburg. You can look it up on your own. Yep, there it goes. There it goes.
My phones are on silent.
My phone's on silent. So because I'm a...
Stop! It won't stop!
I'm trying to get to the point, but the government's trying to stop us. So is mine going to make one in like 30 seconds because I don't have iOS?
Maybe.
Yeah, all right. Anyway. But it was over at the Reclaim Arcade, EK's 14th birthday party. Have I got that right? 14? You're 14?
40.
40?
I behave like I'm 14. I understand the confusion.
Oh, that's a bummer, man. You're not going to get any taller.
No.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry, man. I thought it was 14. I was like, one of these days you're going to hit a growth spurt, but I guess not. Happy birthday, my friend who I just insulted. But we went to this arcade. It had tons of retro games. I really liked Gauntlet back in the day, so I played a bunch of Gauntlet. I also played, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game and the X-Men game. Those are pretty popular. And it's one of those games that have like 4 controllers on the cabinet. And I remember I'm sitting there playing, and you're shoulder to shoulder with these guys, and I remember thinking, it's like, damn, I remember these things being like having a lot more space to move around. But then I realized I was like a foot and a half shorter and half my current body weight. And so when you go to these arcades now, it's a bunch of guys my age, and so they're all shoulder to shoulder, tapping buttons like crazy, having the time of their lives, mind you. But it does get a little cramped when you have wider shoulders and extra girth about you. But I think the highlight of the whole of all the games, I should say, the highlight was obviously EK's birthday. But the highlight of the games was the Rush pinball machine. And as soon as I walked into there and I saw that Rush pinball machine, I said, "Oh, I'm playing that." And I'm telling you, this arcade was so authentic. It was complete with a guy with a ponytail hogging the game for like an hour. There was a guy on the game playing this Rush game for like an hour, and I keep circling, right? And so I was like, geez, this guy's still on it. So I went and played the Twilight Zone pinball machine, which was pretty good. I would have liked to have had that one, but the one I wanted to steal was this Rush pinball machine because it was awesome. I would love to have it in my basement as a solo game piece and maybe even hook it up to the stereo or something like that so you get Rush songs coming out of it. Because that's the thing, you got all these pinball machines and they all make their own bells and whistles, especially these modern pinball machines. They have the like little video screens and they'll play songs. Because they also had like a Guns N' Roses machine, pinball machine. They also had a Star Wars machine and a Foo Fighters machine, and they'll play music. And so it'd be cool to have like a Rush pinball machine in your basement and just like with the sound up and you can hear all the audio features of the game. And I think I think that's kind of what it's like the only criticism I would have of this place was that all these pinball machines are right next to each other. And so you can't get the full audio experience of these games. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I was into radio and I was into music and audio stuff. It's like, I want to hear that stuff. It's part of the experience. Anyway, so I had a good time at your birthday party, EK. I just want you to know. Happy birthday. And I'm sorry to hear about staying, yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, let's talk about one thing where socialism did work, but it's the only kind of place that really does work. And it's one of my earliest memories is when I was, you can get rid of that Rush pinball machine picture. It's one of my earliest memories and when I was in preschool. And one day I forgot my lunch, or my mom forgot to make my lunch, or I forgot to bring my lunch. Since I was 4 years old and an idiot, I'm probably going to assume it's my fault. I forgot my lunch. So, and I didn't notice until at lunchtime. I was like, "Oh, there's no lunch here." And so I said to the teacher, I don't have my lunch. I think I forgot it. And so my socialistly trained preschool teacher got up in front of the class, told all the kids, bless their hearts, and seems like one of us has forgotten their lunch. I'm going to ask any of you if you would like to donate some of their lunch to young Madman here. We're going to call him Madman, even though he's 4 years old. They knew even then. Yeah. So somebody got a napkin. They spread it out for me. So one kid came over and gave me half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Another kid came over and gave me like it was cut in a quarter, so they gave me a quarter of their peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I had like basically 3/4 of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And one kid came over and gave me like a few Fritos. Guy came over and gave me a couple potato chips. Kid came over and gave me a couple of M&Ms. And one kid had Doritos. He's come walking up and he's like, "Oh shit, he's got Doritos." Oh shit. He opens his bag, takes one Dorito out, puts it down. There you go. Socialism. Socialism is everyone gets one Dorito. All right. Bless those kids' hearts for giving, and I think that's kind of the only place that socialism works is with young children. Okay. Because they understand the community and stuff. And plus, it's a smaller thing. Once the system of socialism gets bigger and bigger and bigger, then it becomes a real huge mess. All right. But the point is that socialism can work in small little places, and I got to have lunch that day. However, as the years go by and I start understanding the way things work in the world and governments and ideological systems, and I realized from that little memory from my being 4 years old, my preschool teacher was a commie. And I have to live with that. I was taught by a commie. So if you hate me, hate my preschool teacher. Can't even tell you her name. Anyway. Yeah, we could talk a little bit about this. You know, we were playing that role-playing game, Heroes Unlimited. We were playing that, and EK had this idea. I don't know if you came up with it or if it was somebody else who came up with it. It's like, pick a celebrity and role-play it. Yeah. Pick a celebrity. They get superpowers. Like, there's some event that happens, and, like, certain celebrities get superpowers, the ones you pick. And we role-play that. So I've been thinking a lot about that since you because I think that's a great idea. You know, I don't know how long you'd play. It'd probably be a fad of a game, span or something like that. But I mean, it could be fun. And so, yeah, it could be a one-off session. But I mean, if we're going to do it, and we should put it on like YouTube or something like that, that way I could do my Jason Statham voice. It's like, yeah, I'm going to make up a character called Jason Statham. And what would his superpowers be?
His heart doesn't stop.
Nah, his hair is like metal. His facial hair is like metal, so he scrapes it up against bad guys. And it cuts their faces. He could pull out a single hair and pick a lock with it. You know what I'm saying, mate? Because I'm Jason Statham. And my beard is my power.
I think it'd be more fun if the power is nonsensical or random. Like, it's Jason Statham, but, like, he has dimensional pocket.
No, or no,
like,
it'd be like
that.
It's like, I'm Jason Statham, and I can teleport. No, I got underwater abilities.
Right.
I can breathe underwater and swim fast.
Oh, you're Jason Statham, so like you can drive really good.
Yeah, you drive fast.
Soldier?
Yeah, you're bad with
I
that.
can talk to fish.
I can talk to fish. No, he talks to animals. That would be it. He's like a Beastmaster, right? I'm Jason Statham. I'm a Beastmaster.
This is Kodo and Podo.
Because like all the main characters having this conversation, and he's like, "All right, quiet. I can't pay attention because all these freaking rats, all they're talking about all day long is cats. Cats this. Watch out for the cats. I can't walk through any city. Because even the pigeons, all they're thinking all day long, there's freaking cats." So obviously it's a subject rife with comedy, and so I think maybe we should entertain it. We should come up with, like, really think about it. We talked about that with Avery. It's like, really think about your character, come up with a really good name for him. I like the concept of it, but think of a really good name for him. It's worth the time and effort. Anyway. All right, let's talk about one more thing, and then we'll quickly go through the news. And I want to talk about this picture that I saw on the internet, and I think it's great. EK was talking about how, like, this has become a trend where there's, like, words hidden in a picture and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So if you want to bring up that pic, they say art, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and that, that's what art is. If it invokes some sort of feeling or it makes some sort of statement, that's what art is. Now, obviously, this thing was created digitally. If it wasn't, it's pretty amazing work. But this picture, I mean, it's one of the most poignant ones I've seen all year. I mean, when I saw this, I looked at it for a while. I'm still looking at it, just in awe of how powerful it is. And it's because this picture makes a statement. This picture makes a statement. It's like this. These are the wages of Black Lives Matter. This is the legacy of Black Lives Matter.
I feel like we need to really give it so people can see. I feel like this needs to happen.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So you can just see how that's amazing.
Yes, it is amazing, and it's like I said, it's the legacy of Black Lives Matter. It's a destroyed city. It's a 3-story building. God knows how many homes destroyed. God knows how many businesses destroyed. American cities burned, looted, destroyed because of a temper tantrum, because of a series of temper tantrums. All right. And it's all started around Ferguson. And Ferguson was under Obama's watch, and Obama wasn't going to do anything, obviously. All right. But like Minneapolis and stuff like that, some of that happened under Trump's watch. And even Trump didn't do anything about it. All right, when all that stuff started happening, I was shocked. I was bewildered at why law enforcement wasn't out there with riot shields, with tear gas, breaking up these crowds, sending people home, making some arrests. You don't have to arrest everyone. Making some arrests and prosecuting them in order to show that this is not how you behave in American society. Because Americans died.
That Chaz stuff.
Yes.
Way out of control.
I'll come to that. I'll come to the Chaz stuff. That's a whole different thing if you ask me. All right. But this Black Lives Matter thing happened, and people are like, yeah, Black lives do matter. And you're right. Black lives do matter. It's a very obvious statement. All right. And so people started making GoFundMes and stuff like that. People started raising money for the whole Black Lives Matter movement. All right. And those people, what do they do? What did they do with that money? They bought themselves houses. They hooked themselves up, and that's it. All right. It's been a scam since the beginning. You know, the entire reason that you're saying Black Lives Matter is for the fictional concept that you think police are out there shooting black people with impunity. And that is simply not the case. All you got to do is go watch some of those videos, those body cam videos, and you see so many black people in these videos. They're arguing, they're fighting, they're running from police. And let me tell you something. If you really thought that the cops were killing black people with impunity, you would not behave that way around cops. All right? You're not fooling anyone with this nonsense. All right? America isn't racist anymore. Unless you keep going down this path, and then you're going to make racists. There's going to be people who see the way that they behave, you know, and they're going to say, hey, it must be because of an immutable characteristic. When actually the failure, I think, is really the government. People have always rioted in every government, every civilization. There have always been riots. But the government has to step up and do what is needed in order to stop that kind of behavior from continuing.
There were no riots in the Roman Empire.
Yes, there were riots in the Roman Empire. What are you talking about? That's why they did feasts of bread and you know, for months, gladiator games, and give the people bread to keep them from rioting. What I'm saying is to give everybody bread. We all want from a big French loaf, you know what I mean? And we'll stop with the riots. Garlic, give me some garlic bread. All right. So Black Lives Matter, you know, it was always a scam because you don't need, if you say that, it's because you think that people don't think that that's true. But it's obviously true. But you know what? A lot of people didn't want to send a bunch of police in to start arresting a bunch of people because they were scared of the quote unquote optics of a bunch of black people being arrested. You know, a bunch of black people being prosecuted and sent to jail because they broke the law. Because they think that somebody's going to like take that and say, oh, that's going to prove how America's a racist country. It's like, no, it's not about race. It's about breaking the law. And if you allow people to continue breaking the law just because of the color of their skin, that's racism. How do you not get this? All right. Every time you watch one of those police body cam videos, it's like, oh, you just pulled me over because I'm black or something like that. You know, it's just like, cops, when they talk to you, they have a reason. Your taillight's out, you know, and so frequently you'll see like the guy's like, this guy's a taillight out. He's on the radio. He pulls somebody over. This guy's a taillight out. I'm about to go to lunch. I'll just take care of this real quick. Next thing you know, he's just arguing with this guy on the side of the road for 20 minutes about racism and stuff. And it's like, that's not, you know, America isn't a racist country unless you continue to make it a racist country. All right. And that's the point. When you start saying things like Black Lives Matter, it starts like, and you stop prosecuting people based upon the color of their skin, or you don't want to arrest people because you don't want the optics. You don't want all the phone footage of black people getting arrested and being chopped and cut into different contexts. So it looks like it's a racist thing when it's not. Instead, you're going to give them room to riot. You're going to give them room to burn cities down. All right? And then Black Lives Matter got all this momentum. And you know what happened during all of that? The Antifa movement hopped on it, piggybacked upon the BLM movement. And those were white people. All right? Don't get me wrong. Black Lives Matter and Antifa are two different things. There is a little bit of crossover. But the point is that Antifa like piggybacked on the Black Lives Matter movement. And the next thing you know, you got a bunch of crazy hippie white kids, rich white kids, taking over Chaz Chop in Seattle, making autonomous zones. And they're like, oh, well, we don't want the bad press of anyone being arrested or prosecuted. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? You know? But that's the point. Everything I've said is what this picture inspires in me. It's the truth of the Black Lives Matter movement, which is a burned, destroyed American society. Those Black Lives Matter. I've always agreed with that sentence. All right? Obviously, Black Lives Matter. But nobody wants to talk about all the black people killing other black people in Chicago and Baltimore and St. Louis, Ferguson, Missouri, Minneapolis, all these cities. Nobody wants to cover those kinds of murders. Nobody wants to talk about that. Instead, you'll let these like black people, anyone with non-white skin, do whatever they want and don't even put it on TV. But one white guy walks into the Capitol building in a fuzzy hat. Oh, Lord, we got to have hearings. We got to have trials. We got to send people to jail for 20 years or so. Because that guy is white. And it's okay to prosecute white people. So if you want to look at this picture and see that me posting this picture or talking about this picture is what makes me racist, you don't understand racism. Anyway, let's get into the news. Get a little bit angry there. Ooh, fancy. New stuff, new software, fancy. All right, yeah, this is not a great news day. What the hell just happened? Not a great news week. All right, so might have to end up speeding through. Be easy to speed through this because the news isn't that great. So the big drama on the GOP side of the aisle is Kevin McCarthy was ousted as Speaker of the House. I think he said like good riddance. It was clear that Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy. I'm not even going to read the article. It's clear that Kevin McCarthy and Matt Gaetz had some sort of bad blood between each other. Maybe some words were exchanged, feelings were hurt, or something like that. Anyway, but so Matt Gaetz made a motion to oust him as Speaker of the House. It passed in the vote, and so they're going to have to replace the Speaker of the House. So apparently, it seems like the short list is Steve Scalise, Tom Emmer, Kevin Hern, and Jim Jordan are some of the names being floated for the new Speaker of the House. So, I just when it comes to Matt Gaetz, I get the sense that there might be some sort of grudge there. It's not like the Republicans are in power. It's not like you can clean house when clean out your own tent. You know what I mean? When you're not in power. When you're in power is the time to clean out your own tent. All right. I understand that Matt Gaetz is, he's a hardliner. He'll say no to like everything if he doesn't get what he wants on certain things. And so, but Kevin McCarthy was willing to make compromises, and unfortunately, that's how our government works. You got to compromise to some degree. And so, but Matt Gaetz is kind of a hardliner. It's like, I'm not doing that. And it's like, for certain things I understand, other things I don't. But you have to make compromises in order to progress your agenda. All right. And so now that you have taken Kevin McCarthy out, it's like you're going to have to deal with some whole new devil in the Republican Party as the Speaker of the House. Plus, it may not even be a Republican. You know what I mean? In order to get the votes to put them in the seat. Put them in the seat, I should say. It could be a man or woman. But what I mean is that, it's... I don't know. I don't like when conservatives fight, attack other conservatives. Unless you're attacking me, then I don't care what you say about me. And I think that's kind of the point. I don't understand why you care what other people think about you. Anyway. This is one of my points, I suppose. All right, let's talk about the Democrats being cringe. So Democrats ripped for cringe mean girl post trying to make Biden look like a cool president. All right, so official X account for the Democratic Party received a wave of mockery yesterday on Tuesday after sharing an image it thought it portrayed President Biden looking cool. While attempting to make a pop culture reference, pop culture, like as in recent, the Democratic Party posted a photo of Biden wearing his classic aviator sunglasses while standing in front of the White House. Along with the image, the account shared a quote referencing the line from Mean Girls, the 2004 high school comedy film starring Lindsay Lohan. It said, quote, President at Joe Biden isn't a regular president. He's a cool president. # Mean Girls Day, the account posted. And that's the story. And then like the rest is just people referring to it. Let's see if there's anyone says anything interesting in response to it. October 3rd is referred to as Mean Girls Day because of blah, 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 blah. A line with Lindsay Lohan. So, the line was spoken by Amy Poehler in the movie, who brags to her daughter's friends, "I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom." This line is funny. Social media users, however, were not impressed by the Democrats trying to make fetch happen. Who wrote this? Definitely a dude. Gabriel Hayes. Probably listens to Ben Shapiro. Because that's something that Ben Shapiro says. Anyway, pro-life activist Ryan Baumberger slammed the Democratic Party account for the stunt, saying the DNC not long ago jumped the shark. There's nothing regular about the nonsense. And then he posted a picture of Fonzie jumping the shark. That was okay. Being cool is a lot like being funny. If you have to tell people who you are, you're not. That's a good one. Anyway, so it's other people talking about and then blah, blah, what he said. It's obviously not Joe Biden running this account. Obviously. So, I mean, the whole idea of trying to make this guy look cool is an insane, impossible task. I don't know why anyone... Like, if somebody came to you and said, your job is to make Joe Biden look cool and popular, you'd be like, are you serious? Let me search through these clips. All these clips we can find of Joe Biden stumbling. It's true, none of us shop under pressure. Or these kids rub my leg down and watch the hairs pop up and they turn white in the sun. And I know about being poor. And I know about little kids jumping up on my lap. You got to make that guy look cool. Anyway, let's talk about how the media fawns over anything Bill Maher does. Anytime Bill Maher farts, they're like, "Ooh, Bill Maher." So former ESPN host Sage Steele trashes The View on Bill Maher's podcast. The show is despicable, she said. So former ESPN star Sage Steele torched ladies of The View during her appearance on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast. During their lengthy discussion that went beyond Steele's wheelhouse of sports to tackle things like politics and culture war issues, Maher floated the idea that there should be a contrarian voice on the liberal ABC daytime talk show. You shouldn't be on The View. You shouldn't be on that show. Bill Maher said on the Sunday's podcast. Hell no, Steele reacted. I've been on The View and it didn't go well because, you know what? At The View, they don't want your view. They only want theirs. They are bullshit. Exactly, Maher agreed. And the problem is that they never had anybody who's smart enough to actually say it the way you're saying it. I disagree with that, Steele pushed back, citing Elizabeth Hasselbeck as someone who was able to articulate the conservative point of view on the View table. All right, she went on to say, when you're 4-on-1, and I've experienced it, I felt it, and they were nice to me, relatively speaking. Whoopi was very nice to me. Jenny McCarthy, this was Whoopi, Jenny McCarthy, Sherry Shepard, and Barbara Walters, and they were great to me, Barbara whatever. That's like 50 words that didn't say a goddamn thing. Only women could do that. The other three were great. And what I know for a fact is I did it 4 times. And then they had me audition when they were making changes again. They were 100% full of it. They don't want to hear your view. And if you think differently, then they do. And they're fine telling lies on the stage in that set. And because they know if someone calls them out on it, they're just going to talk over them, have the audience clap, and go to break. So the show, to me, is despicable. It makes me sad because the potential of 20-some years, I respect that. The length that they've done it, the potential is incredible, but they've ruined it. But I think you can handle it, Maher went on to say. She reminded him that she had worked under the umbrella of Disney, which owns ESPN and ABC, before exiting the company after. Yeah, so it's probably complicated for her legally. Yeah, so I mean, obviously The View is awful. Too many women watch it. You know, it's it's articles like this in the previous one where the Democratic Party is constantly pandering to women. It's like these Joshua Cole ads. I'm sure you've seen Joshua Cole ads. He's a Democrat running here in our district this election cycle, and the very first thing that comes out is like, "I'm Joshua Cole and I support the woman's right to choose." He leads off with killing babies, because there's so many women in this country who don't want to face the fact that they've murdered their children, that that's why they'll vote Democrat forever, because if they say it's like, oh, abortion is murder, then that means I am a murderer, and they'll have to face the guilt and accountability for that. And I don't want to do that anyway. So I'm just tired of the pandering to women. You know, I think repeal the 19th. I'm kidding. Kind of. All right, so let's talk about something that happened. I don't know if you heard about this shooting up here at Dulles. Dulles Town Center, not too far from us here in Fredericksburg. So a jury acquits a delivery driver of the main charge in Dulles Town Center shooting of YouTube prankster. So this happened in Leesburg, Virginia. A jury on Thursday found the delivery driver not guilty of shooting a YouTube prankster who followed him around a mall food court early this year. Alan Colley, 31, who was acquitted of aggravated malicious wounding in the shooting of Tanner Cook, 21, who runs Classified Goons YouTube channel. Probably has more subscribers than me, and I'll never know why. The jury was split though on 2 lesser firearm counts and decided to convict him on one and acquit him of the other. On April 2nd, shooting at the food court in Dulles Town Center, about 45 minutes west of the nation's capital, set off a panic as shoppers fled what they feared to be a mass shooting. Colley pleaded not guilty and said he was acting in self-defense. The verdict came Thursday after about 5 hours of deliberation. 3 hours in, the jury sent out a note saying they were divided in terms of whether the defendant acted in self-defense. Loudoun County Circuit Court Judge Matthew Snow called the jury back into the courtroom around 3:30 p.m. and urged them to continue deliberations and standard admonition. Admonition?
Admonishment?
There's no S. Admonition. Got me there. I don't know that word. Fox 5. Given to juries that indicate that they are deadlocked. The jury then delivered its verdicts at the end of the day. Colley's defense attorney, Adam Pouliard, said that conviction on the firearms charge is inconsistent with the law, given Colley's acquittal on the self-defense grounds. Correct. He asked the judge to set aside the conviction. The judge will hear arguments on the issue at a hearing next month. Colley has been in custody since April, since his arrest, and will remain incarcerated until all this is, Pouliard said during Thursday's closing arguments that the client felt menaced by the 6'5" Cook during the confrontation, which was designed to provoke a reaction and draw viewers to Cook's YouTube channel. Correct. So I think there's two things going on here. It's like, number one, there's people who harass people for YouTube clout. You know, bad thing. Don't do that. Don't do that, because this is America. Some people are packing heat. You know, this isn't like, you're living in Britain. If you're in Britain, storm into people's houses. Not like anyone has a gun. I'm kidding, obviously. Relax. But I mean, that's kind of a dangerous thing. Don't do that.
Sounds like precedent to me.
A precedent? You think this might, this case might go to like a Supreme Court kind of thing?
Well, if this guy gets acquitted,
yeah,
and they drop the gun charges, how many more YouTubers are going to get shot?
Well,
because if I can defend myself against some asshat making a YouTube video for clout,
right,
by shooting him, and I can cite this case as precedent.
You're assuming that the shooter is going to make a YouTube channel?
No. What I'm saying is, if the shooter gets acquitted completely of all charges,
I doubt he will, but okay.
But if that happens,
sure,
then it's precedent. And then it can become precedent.
Yeah, but I don't want. Have you seen the video?
I have.
Okay.
And if people are harassing people, filming YouTube videos and getting into their personal space, if this guy gets acquitted, then YouTubers at more risk, TikTokers, whatever, leave people alone. You could get shot.
I agree. I think that should be the message we send to people. But EK has a point. All right, I'll tell you about what I mean. It's that you and I look at this thing differently. We're two people who are pretty close friends. Yeah. But the point of a jury is that a jury has to consider, there's 12 people who have to consider all these things, because there could be somebody in the jury room like EK who makes an argument, and I make an argument. There could be, 5, 6 other people who make arguments on this. It's like, well, this is just going to it's going to get more YouTubers shot if we don't, give this guy some kind of charge. So they're going to quit him on malicious wounding, but we want to keep one of the gun charges because guns are bad or something. You shouldn't be carrying a gun. It's like, well, no. That's why you carry a gun, for incidents like that. I think it's a clean shoot. I think I wouldn't need 5 or 6 hours, but I'm not 12 people either. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. We'll scoot through these. So Pamela Anderson made some news because she appeared without makeup. So Pamela Anderson has been confined. That's a weird word to use, to a bombshell Baywatch identity for decades, but the actress is now choosing to strip away that persona. For several months, Anderson has appeared on red carpets, completely fresh-faced, devoid of any makeup, and as a result, her beauty secrets have evolved. Your beauty has evolved.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's 56.
Yeah. Does she look? You seen a picture of her now?
Yeah.
She looks older than 56, doesn't she?
Older than
Yeah,
56.
exactly. All right, so these days I don't do anything, she explained, of a current routine while attending Paris Fashion Week. I wake up, whatever's happening is just happening. It's all about self-acceptance. This is a chapter of my life I'm trying to embrace now. That's fine. I mean, because she's still a pretty lady.
Oh,
she
yeah.
looks older.
She looks older than her age.
Yes.
But she definitely looks good.
And I would say that the reason why she looks older is, number one, sun damage. Number two, makeup. Lots and lots of makeup over the course of your life. Now, here's something I don't know if women know this, but, in many ways...
She kind of looks like
A Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger? Yeah, kind of.
Like without her makeup, she kind of looks
She
like her.
kind of looks like Sissy Spacek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
She's a pretty lady, And, I'm 46. I wouldn't say no. Would. All right, and so I don't know if you ladies know this, but, it's okay not to wear makeup. In many ways, your natural beauty should shine through. It should take priority, And it's funny because guys are starting to realize this. They understand that, filters exist. They understand that makeup tutorials exist. And when they see a beautiful girl and because all these makeup tutorials are very uniform and stuff like that, and the way to accentuate and de-accentuate certain features, and then you start seeing it starts getting to a point where women with a lot of makeup all look the same. Have you ever noticed that? Okay. That they kind of the more makeup they have, the more they start to look the same.
they're all watching the same.
Yeah,
videos.
they're all watching the same YouTube videos. They're all doing the same tutorials, using the same products, using the same methods and stuff like that. And so you kind of just make yourself average at that point. And Pamela Anderson has always been beautiful. And if you look at those pre-work done era, she was a good-looking girl, young lady, and then her look changed. She started looking a little more plastic, a little more Barbie dollish. And now she's older, and it's obviously she's had some work done, but she's still an attractive middle-aged lady. If I were 18, I'd probably say something different. But I'm in my 40s now, And so I got to tell you, ladies, it's you got to give your natural beauty a chance because that's what makes you unique. Otherwise, you just end up looking like anybody else. And that's not beautiful. Anyway. I mean, you've seen those makeup tutorial videos of some haggard chick, goes to this stunning transformation and then all of a sudden looks hot. And then you're like, ooh, now when I see any woman with makeup, I'm going to see this woman without makeup. All right, let's talk about a crazy man in New Jersey. Guess we'll give Florida a break, I guess. New Jersey man accused of deliberately crashing car into home and a police station. John Hargreaves. Okay. New Jersey man deliberately drove his SUV into a home and the offices of the municipal police department last week, authorities announced Friday. No one was injured in the crashes. Thank God. Sorry for laughing. I should have figured that out before I was laughing. I'm going to laugh. All right, so both these incidents took place on September 20th. The Warren County Prosecutor's Office said in a news release. However, at least one officer narrowly escaped being struck when John Hargreaves, 34, of Belvedere, drove into the Independence Township Police Headquarters, causing significant damage. Hargreaves' vehicle came to a rest in the police department squad room, and as he got out of the vehicle, prosecutors said Hargreaves put his hands in the air and appeared to be celebrating while loudly playing Guns N' Roses' song Welcome to the Jungle on his car stereo. As officers took him into custody. You can hate the crime, you can hate the criminal, but you can appreciate the swagger, right? You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die. And if you watch the video, you know, it's funny because like these cops come out of this back room and this car is in the middle of this office. And they're like, well, there's a car here. They just calmly move an office chair out of the way, come up and arrest the guy. Yeah. Oh, so the crash happened just minutes after Hargreave had driven into a garage door of a home in Liberty Township. An act prosecutor said was intended to harass the homeowner, who is known to Hargreaves. He then drove to Independence Police Station because it was closest to the home, prosecutor said. So I guess the closest cop. Hey, Google, find the closest police station.
Fredericksburg Police Department is on 2200 Cowan Boulevard in Fredericksburg and is 4 miles away.
4 miles away on Cowan Boulevard. Hargreaves was charged with burglary, criminal mischief. Shut up. Shut up, Google. Stop, Google. Shut up, Google.
I can fix that.
Sorry, it was my fault. I started it.
Now her mic's off.
See what I mean? He's not getting any taller. Anyway. So authorities have not disclosed a possible motive for the crashes. Probably crazy. Drunk, maybe. Hargreaves remained jailed. County prosecutors said they did not know if Hargreaves had retained an attorney. The Associated Press left a voicemail seeking comment with the attorney who had represented him in a case. Telephone number of Hargreaves could not be located. That was a whole paragraph to say we have no more information. It could have been one sentence at the end of the previous paragraph. Just putting it out there. You know, I figure like 25% of my show is me editing foxnews.com. Anyway, so this is going to be the end of the show. I want to remind you again that I have a Patreon. Please go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I would appreciate that very much. Or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. The angle here is weird. Okay. It's hard to point. Anyway, shockmonkeyradio, all one word. You can follow me on social media here, Wasteland spelled backwards on Twitter, Shock Monkey Radio Redux, and SLRobbins13 on Instagram. I would appreciate that. You can also buy my books. They're available for digital download. You can follow the links down in the description below. And so it's going to be the end of the show. And we're going to be ending the show. And we're going to be ending the show very soon. I promise you. Unless EK's still in the bathroom. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman, and I love you.